Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. Today it's going to be a update video, and that is on the knives I got from my good buddy JR. This will be my last order before I'm due to leave for my trip on the 28th. Thought I'd remind you guys. And basically the same deal as always. He sends me a lot of knives, and I get to fix up a few, send those back, and then I get to keep the rest for myself. And first thing I'll do is show off the ones he had me restore. And first things first is the large Bowie knives. These were already in really good shape. Minor pits of rust, which I took right off with some sandpaper and some polishing, and then gave some nice walnut handles from an old table with brass pins and a brass guard. He specifically wanted these half guards where it's not complete on both sides. It's where it goes into a sheath a lot easier. And this one's actually made in Germany because when I was looking at the tang, my father pointed out that it actually has a made in Germany stamp on it. And all left to do on this one and this one is make them sharp, and then they're all ready to go. So there's one, and then here's the smaller Bowie knife I worked on. Again, same walnut handle with a brass guard and brass pins. I love how this one's very highly polished. This one didn't have a mark, so I don't know where this one was manufactured. Still, came out really nice. I love the grip on this one, and I love the weight on these. These will definitely get the job done. So there's those two I'm sending back. And then here's the Mora that he sent me that I worked on. Brought it back to a nice condition. Didn't have a handle and it was corroded a little bit. And that was an easy fix. And I brought the point back to a tip and sharpened it back up and preserved the logo and put a beautiful walnut handle on it. Again, that turned out really nice. Again, that one I'm sending back. And then this is the Remington that I mistakenly said in the video that I was keeping. This one's actually one that he wants back. And this one, all he wanted me to do was put a pommel on it, which I did. And I also polished up the blade and sharpened it up. So now it's ready to go. And I tried to find a pommel that looks the closest, and this is the closest one I could find. Made it out of an old drawer knob. And just drilled through it, tapped it, and put it on. It came out really nice. Look forward to sending this one back to him. And he's constantly been updated on all these, so he already knows about all this. And then one of my favorites is this small Sheffield Bowie knife made by Wade and Butcher, Sheffield, England. This one turned out really nice. He didn't want me to do anything to the blade, so I left it alone. And I put some beautiful stag handles on it with some brass pins to tie with the guard. And I love the weight. Now, I mean, it is weighted perfectly. And I mean, this is really nice. This makes a good boot knife. Hard to believe this knife is so old. If I recall, JR said this is like from 1860s-ish. And you can definitely tell from the way the blade looks, it's definitely old steel. And it looks nice. Wish I could keep that, but I do have to send that to him because he wants that back. And last but not least is a old homemade knife that I worked on. It originally had a pommel on the end, but he gave me two options. I could try to get the pommel off and put a stag handle on it and re-screw it back on. And he said if that ended up not working, I could just simply take it off and put a stag handle on it. And obviously I put a stag handle on it. And what I did is I heated up the pommel and tried to twist it to get it off, and the whole tang broke off, so I had to make do with what I had. And I had this beautiful piece of stag lift, and I used the leather from a sheath that he sent me for the spacers. And I just simply sharpened it up. The blade looks like it was made from an old file. And this one turned out gorgeous. The tang comes all the way to right here, so it's got a good stable tang on it. Oops, dropped it. A good stable tang on it. Definitely pointy. Look forward to sending this one back. All right, that is all the ones I'll be sending him back. Now on to the ones that he gave to me. And I've already sold a good majority of them. All the cheap Chinese pocket knives and Pakistan knives you guys saw in the previous video, those are actually all gone. I sold those to a flea market friend of mine. And I gave him a good deal, and I needed the cash for my trip, so there's that. And I sold a couple of the sheets already. Normally, I don't start selling stuff this early, but I need the money for my trip, so the more the better. And so anyway, and I cleaned up the 3 hatchets that he gave me. Here's 2 of them. One I actually gave to my dad to pay him back for some of the money I owe him. And I reused some micarta that I had lying around with some copper pins. Again, to make it all look right. This one I'm keeping because it's more squared off. And then this one I'm going to put for sale on eBay because it's got a deep nick right here in the blade that I wasn't able to get out. Still functional. It's just, you know, that ugly little nick. So this one I'm going to put on eBay for sale to anybody who wants it. And then I cleaned up one of these small hunting knives, the Utica Sportsman. Again, I used the same material on this handle as I did on the hatchets. Came out really well. This guard was actually on this one right here. And this blade was in much better shape. So I just took the guard off and put it on this one. Came out really nice. That one's going in my collection. And this one, depending on how it turns out, I'll probably keep it as well. And I've already started working on this Japanese Bowie knife that he sent me. I've already cleaned up the bevel. And the guard came from a broken one that he had sent me for that reason. So I robbed the guard off it and stuck it on this one. So that one I'll be working on when I have time. And here's the little boot knife that he gave me. Again, I'll probably keep that one. And this Utica Sportsman that is in much worse shape. This one I'll probably sell as well once I get it cleaned up. So there's those. Next is on the other knives he sent me. First is this Remington he said I was allowed to keep. A RH PAL 36. And sadly, the guard and pommel are not usable. There are too badly pitted. Especially the pommel looks like acid was spilt on it. And the pommel is and the guard is way too pitted for me to reuse. So I'm going to clean up the blade and make my own handle on it. It's going to look like the original handle. It's just going to have a slightly different style. And this one, depending on how it turns out, I might sell it as well because I've already got one like this already in my collection. And it'll all depend on how this one turns out, which I will do an update, of course. Next is on some of the pocket knives I decided to keep. And some of the ones I stripped for parts. So let me go ahead and get these together. These are all the ones I kept together. I am keeping this little doctor's knife that he sent me. I'll clean it up and put it in my collection. And this Chinese Stockman sadly has a broken spring. I'm going to strip it for parts. And then this is a Sabre Japan with real bone handles. That one I'm going to keep and clean up. And then this is a Ranger, a white-handled one made by Imperial. Again, I'm going to clean this one up and keep it. And then this is a electrician's knife made by McKellen & Sons. This one I'm going to strip for parts as well. And then this is an old Camillus that I'm going to strip for parts. And then this is an old Cutmaster. Again, I'm going to strip it for parts. And then this is a Colonial jackknife with a broken spring. So this one I'm going to strip for parts as well. And then this little baby, see if we can get the logo readable. Baby IC-Co. I'm going to clean that one up and actually keep that one. I actually like this one. And then, of course, this large Japanese camp knife, I'm actually going to clean this one up and actually keep this as well, because I don't have one of these. And the dagger blade, I'm eventually going to modify. No brand on it, but it's a good little test knife. And the guard and pommel that was on it, I do intend on reusing. And this one I haven't decided yet. I was thinking about cutting the brass off the ends here and making it one smooth boot knife, but I don't like that idea that much. But I'll think of something. And then I'm actually going to keep this sheath. A friend of mine thinks this may have been used for a sharpening stone, which it probably has. It's also perfect to carry a straight razor in, so that I'm going to keep. And I'm also going to keep this little one as well. And this little sheath as well, if I can't find a knife for it, I'll probably strip it for the leather or sell it to a friend of mine. This one, same thing. If I can't find a knife for it or find a buyer, I'll just strip it for the leather because it needs to be re-sewn and stuff like that. And then this little pouch, I'm going to strip it for the leather. So, anyway, that's all the updates I've got so far. JR, I hope you enjoy these knives, man. I will send them out to you. So, I hope you guys enjoy. And as always, stay sharp and keep collecting.